I would like to give you a tutorial of how to manage your global options, also known as the global configuration options of a component. As some of you may already know, the global configuration options is also the same area where you are able to set the menu options of a specific site view. So I'm going to demonstrate some of that to you. We want to actually achieve an understanding on how to control where which of these fields appear. You see, because you might want to have the field appear in your global options of the component, but not in the menu. Or you might want to have it appear in the menu, but not in the global options. And so there is ways to achieve that. And so I want to demonstrate that and also give a little general overview, because I was looking for the tutorial where I've done this before, and yeah, it's a classic example of dealing with too many issues in one tutorial, so I actually couldn't find it. So I'm just going to redo this, and I know it's there somewhere, but okay, this will stand out so people find it easily. So let's see. Joomla components. I've got a component here called member manager. If I open it, it's also got a lot of config file fields already set up. So let's look at that. So I've got some global fields. There is a site view called members, which actually also already has a number of fields, as you can see here, and that means they are actually also, we can also look at some of them. I'm going to demonstrate adding one because to me that's most explanatory. Then there's some company value data and stuff. Okay, so there's a lot of config values already here. Usually if there's none, you'll just click on this plus and start adding the fields. Now it's really in the field that a lot of the control is managed. So if I go out of here and I go to the fields, and let's open some of those field, like for example, we have this members. The first one is member display type list, so it is this one. Let's open that one, and so we basically see a normal members display type, and then basically nothing unique. Now if I compile this component, install it, and now let's go look at that component quickly. In its global options, we see it has only 1, 2, 3 fields showing here. So there's 3 fields showing here, but in our list there are quite a lot more. So let's look at some of the fields that don't show up in the config area. So like, let's see, it is panel template, panels and panel, and then display type. So that means this table row template isn't there, this table template isn't there. Oh wait, maybe they are. Let's see if I change this. Oh yeah, they are there. So there are a few hidden fields working along here. So let's scroll down. Target member types, that one isn't there. Components one-to-one linked to JMM multi-custom, that one isn't there, and this one-to-many is also not there. Okay, so let's go look at that in the fields area. So here is the component one-to-many linked to JMM, Joomla Member Manager. If I scroll down, I see a few options here, but now we'll see that there is in this extra properties area, there is a new property added called display, and it's set to menu. And over here you can read about this actual property. There are a few, and it says display switch for dynamic placement in relation to the use of the field in menu and global configuration options. So that means if this field gets used in the menu or in global configuration, you can switch it on and off to be either in the one or the other. With leaving this blank, like not having it at all, will put it into both, which was the default way it used to always work. So the config option will only add the field to the global configuration area, whereas the menu will add the field only to the menu area, which means this field is only being added to the menu area. So let's see if that is so. So here in the global configuration of Member Manager, under members, it is not visible. No matter which choice we make here, it's still not visible. If we select Member Manager members, we see there's a new tab here, and here it is actually showing up, component 121. So here it is active, whereas in the global config it is not. So that is really as simple as it is in adding a field to just menu, is to select display and add the string menu here exactly as spelled there, or config. Now if you want it in both, like I said, you just leave this out, like you don't even need to add anything. Whereas if you want it only in config, you would add config string in the value here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's create a field. We say new, give it a name, show title, select an option. We want to do a radio field. Then I'm just going to add these properties. So as name we said show title, as label show title, select if the title should be shown, and yes no, the default being 1. And for now we're going to leave off any other settings here and just save this. Then going back to our Member Manager, we're going to open the config and add this new tab in here. So we just click plus here. The way we know how to add this tab name is it must be the exact same name as the site view where we want the menu value to be added. So we're going to add the correct site view, and over here we're selecting the field which we've just created. So I'm going to add it to the C panel and show title, and the default again I'm adding it here as 1, and we can save and close out of here. Now let's compile this component and see what happens. And install. Now going back to the global configurations, we have this tab called cPanel, and it says show title, and it's yes or no, and that's quite to be expected. But now going to the menu, and instead of selecting members, I'm going to select cPanel. It again shows me this Member Manager tab, but now it says show title, and it has this use global, yes or no. So you can use global, just leave that, or you could say no, which is a local override. Yes would also be a local override. So this way your parameters in your menu, it overrides, either falls back to the global setting of the components configuration, or it overrides it here on this menu level. Okay, now we want to change the field so it doesn't show up in the menu, which is quite simple. We go down here and we again select the display option, and I want it only to be in the config area, so we add the word config here and save. Then we go back and compile and install this component just again. Now back in the menu, we need to just refresh this page here. Basically make sure we have cPanel selected, And as you can see, the value is no longer showing here. There's no longer that extra tab. Whereas in Member Manager, if I was to refresh this area, the cPanel tab is still there and that option is still available. Now I can go back and change this from config to menu. Again, just save this and go back, compile and install. Now going back to the menu, if I refresh this menu, suddenly we have Member Manager back. It has show title, but now you see it no longer has the global option. This is a fix in the latest release. It's still in staging, version 2.9.15. I suppose it will come out in 16. So this is a fix. We've noticed that it used to still add global here while there is no longer a global value. So we have fixed this. But so from here on forward it should be resolved. Now if we go back to the global configuration area and we refresh this area, then suddenly the cPanel tab is gone. We don't see it, and that means that the value itself also, it's still in the database. If you've saved it previously and you've done this, it's still in the database, and the only way to quickly get it out, just click save here. Oh, and we've got some empty values we need to fill before we can. So that's just a little demonstration from my side on how to adapt the actual config of your component, this area. To be able to add fields to it is quite easy, but to be able to add those fields to site views. So if I show you this, if I say a site view, I mean that this component, if we were to open it in the site views, it actually has a site view called cPanel. See, also members, the one we looked at. And so the cPanel is its name. If you're unsure about what that name is, you can go to site views, and to that specific site view, this name here that says name, that is the name of the tab you must use. And so that means your field's behavior is literally controlled in the field itself. And yes, that means if you were to add this field to multiple components, it will be actually behaving similar in every one of those components. Meaning if you've added this to be menu, it will only be loaded to menu. But if you add this field to a site view, or sorry, to an admin view, it doesn't actually react to this display value. Then this display property is no longer really being used. It's only active when it is lined up in a few points, and that is first that it belongs to a tab which also has a site view of the same name, and secondly that it is in the configurations, therefore, of course. So it needs to be a configuration field that belongs to a tab which has a site view of the same name. Then the display property actually kicks in. Otherwise it's simply ignored. And so you could use these fields in menus, sorry, not in in admin views, and then this value won't play a role. It's only when it becomes a config field. Okay, well, thanks for watching. If you still have any questions, or even if you see some room for improvement, please do not hesitate to communicate with us either on the forum, or if it's if you know for sure that this is a feature request or a bug or whatever, then related to JCB, then please open an issue on GitHub. So look forward to hearing from you. Take care.